Zur neuen Ausgabe SI Talk und ich habe heute ein Update-Interview und gleich einmal ein Conflict of Interest vorab. Ich bin Aktionär und zwar geht es um die Firma Tsodilo Resources. James M. Bruchs ist bei mir. Wir haben vor 1,5 Jahren, weil ich gerade nachgeschaut habe, ein Interview geführt, also es war 10. November. Wir sind jetzt beim Kurs ziemlich gleich wie vor 1,5 Jahren. Das ist für die Explorationsbranche eigentlich eine sehr gute Sache, weil sehr viele Unternehmen, die vor 1,5 Jahren, also die notieren deutlich, obwohl die letzten Wochen eigentlich gut waren, deutlich unter dem, was vor 1,5 Jahren notiert haben. Und es war allerdings eigentlich so, dass bei der Company nicht wirklich was weitergegangen ist die letzten 1,5 Jahren, weil sie ein Lizenzierungsproblem gehabt haben. Aber das ist vorbei. Seit 1. April haben sie alle Lizenzen wieder und jetzt geht's wieder los und deswegen ist es jetzt spannend, vielleicht nochmal ein Update zu hören, was ist jetzt geplant, was war generell die Story dahinter und ja, schauen wir mal, was er uns Neues sagt. James, thank you for your time. I said in my German introduction, our first interview, what we're doing is, first I have a conflict of interest, I'm shareholder.
Yeah.
Second is we do our first interview 1.5 years ago. That's on 10th of November, and the share price is nearly the same. So it's mean really nothing happened, and in really it's really so that in the last 1.5 years, not too much happened in the company. Then you have a little bit of license issues, and now you have all your license renewed, and since 1st April, I think, and now it's starting again. So, but it's 1.5 years ago. So, what was really the reason why your story is so exciting? And now it's finally time that the share price is hopefully moving. So maybe you can give us a small update on them, what you're doing, in which way you're doing, and most important thing is what's coming next, and if we have any other companies or ideas what can happen in the future from your company, how is development in this area, and do you see similar stories around the globe?
Right. And thank you for having me back again. I think at this point in time, it's a little bit like a rebirth of Tsodilo Resources. We had some litigation issues concerning licenses dealing with the buffer zone and UNESCO World Heritage Site. We knew that the law was on our side, and it was gratifying to see that the court found it that way. The buffer zone itself contained about 169 million tons of iron ore at the 30% grade. And so it was really hard to give up. That probably had an in situ value, about $6 billion. So it was hard to turn to the shareholders who had spent a lot of money and say, well, we'll just give this up just for the sake of giving it up. So we had to fight for our rights. We did that. It took about 2 years. We won the case. The licenses are issued effective April 1st. So now we're ready to go again. And for our shareholders who, going back in time, remember that we were involving other companies, majors, to come into a company to have an earn-in JV. And we were going to do the PEA, get that done. And since that time, we've advanced it quite a bit. The partner which we had back at that time, we've no longer are engaged with. So we're now done non-disclosure agreements with several companies, 6 of them at this stage. We've provided them the data, and we hope to consummate some type of transaction, I hope by the end of May, where we would basically have an earn-in JV that the company can earn up to 50% in our project, and paying somewhere between $16 and $20 billion or million dollars, I'm sorry, to advance the project through a PEA and a bank pre-feasibility study, maybe into a feasibility study. It's much the same type of agreement we had with First Quantum many years ago on their copper exploration, where they invested 17.5 million to earn 70%. So we're just kind of redoing that process or whatever and looking at doing the iron. But at the same time, we're also including the copper exploration that we did with First Quantum, or First Quantum basically carried that. They had to give up that project at the time that they had some financial issues back when copper prices crashed, I would say, back in whatever it was, 2017, I think, or early 18, where they stopped all exploration and gave the project back to us. We've done a lot of work. We've refined the targets, and they're kind of ready for drilling. We had a lot of nice intercepts, but there needs to be a lot more work done on that, mostly by drilling targets that First Quantum developed and that we refined. At the same time, within our licenses, we have a rare earth project also that we've done quite a bit of drilling on. We don't have a resource on it yet, but it won't take many holes more to do to get a resource on it. And we intend including that into this next phase of work. The rare earths are mostly light rare earths, so they're not the sexy rare earths that everybody's looking for, but they do have, like most rare earths, a nice market to it and an extensive market to it. So at this stage in our rebirth, we're looking to team up with another entity to bring in their expertise and money in it. We've spent about $26 million on the Cowdom iron formation at this stage, and it'll probably take between 15 and 20 million, which we're looking for somebody to have an earn-in JV on that. And so I think we'll have that done hopefully by the end of May. So.
Okay, but this earn-in is only for this iron ore project.
Now we'll probably, depending, it's not negotiated yet, and we still have to work this, but within the same licenses are the copper exploration and the rare earth. Our area contains 5 licenses, and things are just mixed up a little bit within the Cowdom iron formation. So back in the day, First Quantum was only interested in the copper, right? So split that out. How it ends up this time is yet to be seen, but those are what's in those 5 licenses that are all.
Is it possible that you're coming up with several companies? They're looking for different things. So one looking for iron ore, the other one looking for copper, and the other one looking for the rare earth.
I have to say that the companies we contacted, I think it's probably even split of those looking for the copper exploration primarily, and those looking at the iron. So it's kind of a hodgepodge. As we know, copper, as I would say, is the flavor of the month, right? And no matter who you talk to, what you read, who you listen to, there is a copper shortage. If the economy continues like this and all the developments, we need copper. And and that's the way it's going to go. So that's what a lot of interest is in copper. Even gold companies are switching from their gold exploration and getting into copper. So
but I must say the flavor of the month, or the metal of the flavor of the month, is for me gold. We have 2 days ago a new all-time high. We have a beautiful run the last 4 months, 5 months, and it's still strong, even after the data yesterday, when the inflation going up, nobody expected this. The gold is still holding close to the all-time high, but I see also that the copper is coming back. You see it on Hardbay, on the other companies. They have its run, and from the fundamentals. Is copper a no-brainer? I must say, if we want to do the energy transformation, then it's clear copper must running up, or we need a lot of copper.
That's right. And with respect to gold, you're too young to remember a gentleman. His name was Joe Granville, but Joe Granville back in the 70s and 80s was probably one of the biggest gold bugs that there was. So for as long as anybody's known Joe Granville, he's always recommended gold, right? Year after year, month after month, day after day. And eventually, as Joe would say, he was going to be right, right? And so that's the funny thing about gold. It has to be based on something. And right now, as you say, it's the flavor of the month. And there is a lot of interest in it. But people, as you say, are going back also to the metals that are used in industry, right? And copper leads the way out of any development or leads into the development, and it'll lead the way out of it too. And right now, everybody's expecting shortages, and that's where it is, So we, as
Do
I
you
say,
see the same situation on iron ore, or what is your expectation on iron ore?
I think it really, I think the niche, is really going to be into this green iron, right? Because a lot of these old mines and in old places, people just don't want it, right? And forget the economics of it. It's what the world is today. And they don't want the pollution associated with old mines. Even, the biggest firms, Rio Tinto, Engel, and everything, they're going after green steel. And that's where, if you have to pay a little premium, that's fine. But everybody's working to save social causes, environmental causes, and so forth. And that's just where it's going to go. It's people are going to demand that. And if you have to pay a little bit of premium, that's it. So new mines and those that can switch to doing green steel or green iron ore to go into that's going to carry the day. The old places that are coming from jurisdictions that can't swap over or too expensive to stop over, those mines will close. They will not be suppliers any longer. And as we know, for direct shipping ore, hematite is getting hard to find and big, as a big resource, right? And, we have Simandou that's coming on in Guinea, and that's been going for 30 years and billions of dollars and so forth. We have one of the largest magnetite deposits in the world. And it's upgradable easily to 67, 68%, which is a premium over the normal 62%. And it's a great product. We can do it green. And magnetite, I think you'll see in the coming years, will basically start being more important than DSO because it is so easily upgradable. Just magnetic separation, you get a good product, less pollution, and then you give it to a green mill or what have you. So it's a very nice niche to be in.
Okay.
And
so that's mean your project, your iron ore project, can convert or is right for green iron or green steel.
Sure, we'll produce it in a green manner.
What must happen that a company can produce it in a green manner?
Well, it's just a matter of what energy sources you're using, right? So, the magnetite is simple as magnetic separation, right? So you're running that over it, but it's whatever your power sources are to do that. So if you're using solar, if you're using hydrogen, I mean, Germany at this time is running a tremendously important hydrogen green steel product over in Namibia on a smaller deposit over there. And they're just showing the concept of it and be able to do it. So it's not just, in the mill itself, it's coming out of the ground. Are you doing it in a green fashion? Are you reducing your carbon footprint by the way that you're, manufacturing this product? And that's what we're going to do. That's why we joined Responsible Steel. They'll be involved in the development of this. They'll certify it, and you get the stamp of good approval. And the cost really is not that appreciative, right? It's if you do it right from the beginning, and which is what we are, then it cost is very marginal. It doesn't increase anything. And initially our plan is to produce ferrosilicon. Okay. And the reason for that is that we will still be waiting for a rail spur to come into us, which is planned in Namibia. And that is for our direct shipment out to the Walvis Bay port. But while that's all going on, we can be the leading producer of ferrosilicon to use in all the DMS plants from the Democratic Republic of Congo all the way down to South Africa. And our product is perfect for that. The cost is relatively small to do that, and we can capture the market and probably do $200-400 million in revenue a year just while we're waiting for everything else to develop. So people will say to our project, just say, well, you're in the middle of the desert in Botswana and your rail is 400 kilometers away and so forth. Okay, that's fine. But while that's all going on the rail side, we're going to just be going ahead and doing a ferrosilicon, which has great numbers, and that'll be the initial phase one of our product, and everything else will phase in as it comes to us. So, we can overcome everybody's objections because they say, well, you don't have the rail, you're not next to the ocean, you don't have a boat, well, we don't need that, right? This deposit is so big. We have 441 million tons of an inferred resource now, but our exploration target is between 5 and 7 billion, right? So if you take that and let's say that everything came out as planned and you have a 30% recovery, well, that's the same size as basically in tonnage as the Simandou deposit that Rio Tinto is using. So, at the end of the day, you hope you have 2 to 3 billion tons, and the life of the mine is 70 to 100 years. So we're going to start with a product we know that has a market for it. I think there are probably less than a dozen major ferrosilicon producers in the world, and we're going to be one of them. And we're going to produce that in a green fashion too. Mm-hmm. And so we'll tick all the boxes, and it is a big revenue stream. And, that's the plan. That's been the plan for 2.5 years, basically, until things happen. And now we're just picking it up and we're going back at it. And that's what we'll do. So,
to summarize a little bit, so what we can expect from the newsflow side, or what is really you're working on to summarize a little bit this everything. You say end of May we can expect a earn-in agreement. In which way we don't know exactly. If it's only for copper, or is it everything, or is it separately with other companies? But this is the first milestone what we can expect.
Yes.
So, and this is only a few weeks ago, 6-7 weeks ago. That's nothing.
That's right. That's right. So yes. So in anticipation of winning the lawsuit to get our licenses back, I've been talking with companies for many months now, and to review our data is an extensive library of data, and so everybody has that now, and they're going through it. So I hope to conclude something by the end of May. That's my goal.
Okay. We know exactly. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but if it's happened the first half year, everybody's happy, I think.
Right.
To raise the expectation too high. The people know exactly when you say end of May and it's now 1st June, they blame you on it that you are not.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
So okay. So, but what we can after, when you're coming up with this earn-in, what we can expect? What?
So the first stage of this is to complete our preliminary economic assessment, right? And we'll go through every scenario we can to develop this project. And since we've been working on it for some time, I would think, depending on the drilling, that we could probably have it done. Again, I hate to give you a date, but let's say within 9 months, and that depends on drilling. What our plan is to drill out what we call block 2. We've done block 1, and we hope to pick up another 300 to 400 million tons of an inferred resource by just doing minimum drilling, maybe 10,000 meters are all we would need because we've already done so much. We probably need this to complete it. So I think on paper, we would probably end up in the PEA of somewhere between 800 and 900 million tons on block one and block two. And that will be formulating our PEA, which again, I think we can have done 9 months or so after we start the drilling. Mm-hmm. So that would be the idea, and then that will give us a roadmap of how we look to develop this. And our earn-in is kind of a different procedure. We will have an initial equity buy that the entity can come in at, say for 10%, and that will give them the option to exercise to pick up another 40%. 60 days after the PEA is published. Mm-hmm. And so, they can look at it and see if they want to come in. If they don't, then we have time to find another partner or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we go to pre-feasibility and, of course, bank feasibility. So,
but this is really what you say, a serious earning. So that's first a serious partner and a serious amount of money what they must invest.
Sure.
So, and we talk not from a few million, we talk from 10 plus million.
Yeah. So the overall for somebody to earn 50%, at least as what's being proposed at this stage, would come around the $20 million mark.
Okay.
And, everybody should remember, at least we've gone through it, as I say, we've spent in excess of 26 million to get the project to this stage so far. Mm-hmm. So hopefully our partner will come in and it'll be about 20 million.
Okay. Okay, so that's mean for us is we wait now end to end of May or June that you're coming up with a great name and a great number what they want to invest.
Right.
And this should be then now we have the expectation for this partner, and then we hopefully, when it's everything is out, then we see the big raise. But interesting for me that you have both this copper and this iron ore. So iron ore is interesting for the green steel, but copper is maybe for the energy transfer what we have in the world now is also a very interesting commodity, or much more interesting commodity, I say, than iron ore.
It very much. I mean, people look at iron ore the same way people look at coal, right? It's just something you put in a railroad car and it goes out and somebody does something with it. Copper, everybody has copper in their house. Everybody has touching copper every day, right? So it's more familiar. And as I say, the Zambian copper belt comes right down through Zambia into our section. That's what First Quantum found. And unfortunately, they couldn't finish their work back in the day or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's really a matter of picking up the excellent work that they did. I mean, they did extensive work and just were not able to finish the project because of other external factors.
I have only one a little bit fear when you're coming up with a serious partner, a big one, and so on. Then sometimes is that the publication feed what you get out of the JV is something small. Then you have a big partner, he do normally the work, and then maybe you're not allowed to publish something. Can you take care of it that it's not the case?
Yeah, we didn't have that issue with First Quantum, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, because as a public company, they're required to put out the results too, and we were allowed to do that at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I don't see that as problematic. I mean, I've been in, at least with this company, in the business for 20 years, and things have really changed. I mean, transparency is the name of the game just because of so many eyes on you and so forth. And really, good news is good news. If it's bad, well, then people move on, right? And that's just the way it is. Um, so I don't, we've been 100% transparent since day one, and we will always be like that. So I don't see any problems there. So
Okay, perfect. James, thank you for the new introduction to your company. Now it's really time to going back to work. I'm really happy when we see the press release of which company you going forward and which number they are coming up and so on. I hope it's a really interesting company that we everybody knows. Good luck with them. Hopefully, when we after the earn in, maybe we have time to make a small update on this interview. So then maybe you can say after a few weeks what are really the next steps, so that we can get a better understanding what then the timeline looks like. That
yeah,
would
look
be
forward
great.
to that. Yeah.
Okay, ja, das war ein Update von Tsodilo. Wie gesagt, ich bin Aktionär. Jetzt haben sie alle Genehmigungen wieder retour. Sie haben einen Rechtsstreit gehabt bezüglich die Lizenzen. Die Lizenzen haben sie jetzt bekommen. Und wie gesagt, es geht um ein gigantisches Iron Ore Projekt, das Eisenerzprojekt. Es haben auch wahnsinnig viel Kupfer drin und sie haben noch seltene Erden, wobei dort eher nicht die schweren seltenen Erden, sondern die leichten seltenen Erden, also nicht schwer und leicht vom Gewicht her, sondern von der chemischen Strukturaufteilung. Und ja, jetzt geht es richtig los. Die große News ist einfach, Ende Mai soll der Joint Venture Partner da sein, der Earn-in-Agreement macht, der 50% des Projektes kriegen soll, vielleicht auch nur für einen Teil, vielleicht nur fürs Eisenerz, vielleicht auch nur fürs Kupfer. Und dann sieht man, dann geht es eigentlich die Arbeit los und dann sollte eigentlich die neuen Projekte vorwärts getrieben werden. Und deswegen habe ich eigentlich jetzt gleich einmal ein nächstes Interview ausgemacht. Nach dem Earn-in-Agreement, wann das wirklich Ende Mai kommen sollte, machen wir dann nachher einmal ein Update, damit wir dann wirklich die neuen Meilensteine quasi, was dann kommen soll, genauer Bescheid wissen. Wichtig ist nur beim Iron Ore zu wissen, es geht um Green Steel, ganz wichtig. Jeder sucht nach Green Steel und nicht nach den normalen Eisenerzprojekten. Das ist extrem wichtig und das wird auch in Zukunft, hat er vorher schon mal zu mir gesagt, wird so sein, dass in 10, 15 Jahren eigentlich nur mehr Green Steel Projekte sein können, die eigentlich einen niedrigen CO2-Abdruck haben. Und wie kann man das erreichen? Indem man nämlich Energiequellen nutzt, die alternative Energiequellen sind, Solar, Wasserkraft, was auch immer, und daraus quasi das Erz gewinnt, hochgradig gemacht auf, weiß nicht, 68%, 62, 68% und das dann verkauft an Smelter, die dann dementsprechend auch einen grünen Stahl erzeugen. Wie zum Beispiel die Voestalpine gerade ihre Stahlschmelze, also einen Hochofen quasi umplant und dort eine Elektrolyse geplant. Ja, das war's. Jetzt hast du Daumen drücken bis Ende Mai. Wer weiß, was da für ein Partner kommt, das könnte natürlich für einen Move sorgen. Der Aktienkurs selber hat sich nicht wirklich bewegt seit den letzten 1,5 Jahren, wie die Probleme dann begonnen haben. Und jetzt wird es dann richtig spannend. Hier dieser eine Zucker nach oben, das war vor allem, wie es quasi die Klage gewonnen haben gegen die Regierung und sie die Projekte dementsprechend wieder zugesprochen haben. Ja, das war's von Tsodilo. Heute ist der 11. April 2024. Ja, tschüss und Papa und pfiat euch. James, thank you for your time.
Thank
Was
you.
really a great update and hopefully,
See you soon.
cross
Yep.
the fingers. Which partner you coming up?
All right. Talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you.